It's the After the Show podcast, precious.
We don't care, we're about to swear on the air. It's the After the Show, so tune in if you dare. KVJ, get your skate every single day. It's uncensored. We can say what we want to say.
All right, hello. Welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast. Happy Wednesday. Virginia had a chance to hop into a fancy jet and whisk her way off to Bowling Green, Kentucky to see her grandma.
So is that the first time they have ever had like a private jet in Kentucky?
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm just kidding. Kentucky people, don't get mad at me. I'm just kidding.
It would be unique, though, I would think, for the most part. At least Bowling Green. I mean, I think probably the bigger cities. In fact, Lexington and Louisville, I'd imagine, are no strangers to them because you got the horses there. And anybody who knows the horse racing industry, there's a lot of money in that. Those horses are not cheap, and those guys are loaded.
I remember going through Kentucky as a kid. I thought it was peaceful.
It's lovely. Yeah, I like Kentucky. Now, look, with some of those states and those areas, I know because it's very similar to where I'm from, southeastern Ohio. And you've got southeastern Ohio, West Virginia, and parts of Kentucky can be really kind of backwoods, kind of my area, and then down into West Virginia where all my family was from, my grandparents and whatnot.
How backwoods?
Very backwoods.
This is my sister and my wife.
Yeah. You had some places. I remember as a kid, there were some houses that didn't have indoor plumbing, for instance. It's backwoods. It's called Appalachia. And so, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I was talking to somebody at our movie premiere that was from West Virginia in that part. And they said, yeah, we heard you telling that story about that guy that was kind of like the town mayor, sheriff, ran the biggest bar, owned the bank. And he was the guy that somebody double-crossed him, so he just shot him in the head. And they took the guy out back at the bar and threw him in the creek, and he just kind of washed down. They said, yeah, that happens.
I mean, how? Because I've never really, lived that culture. And, people always try to act like the backwoods is where, incest stuff happens. Is that all just stuff in the movies, or is that really something that is prevalent and goes on?
Well, I think probably more happened before, but yeah, one thing I will tell you is that the dating pool is small. Now, I never knew anybody, where I grew up, but my town was massive compared to some towns. We had 7,000 people. So,
whoa.
Yeah, ours was kind of a megapolis.
Bustling.
Yeah, when we would go to the backwoods, people would be like, oh, you're from the big city. So, that's how it was. But yeah, you get into some of those little pockets and you don't have a lot of options, then that could happen. And the one thing I will tell you, there's a country song about dating in a small town. And after you kind of go through high school, you get to the point where, you know how we have codes about you just don't date them because that's an ex?
Everybody porks everybody in a small town.
You can't have that code in a small town because you're like, dog, I'm out of options. Like, if I never date anybody that you've ever been with following the bro code, that's it, man. There's no more women left.
So small towns, everyone's pretty much porking with, at some point, has porked each other.
Yeah, and that's what's tough, And in the song, it talks about, you're just down the street, you're with another guy, and every street light that I go through, and, you make these memories, but you can't get away from it because the town's so damn small that you see the ghost of whoever it was you were just dating and all those memories everywhere you go because there's just no more options.
Some had a big old dicks in a small town.
That's kind of it, yeah. So, yeah, it's a different lifestyle doing that. Now, I think Kentucky is in that way the same as Ohio, that Ohio has some big cities. They've got Cleveland, and Columbus is a big city, Cincinnati. You have Toledo's and some of those other towns, mid-range. But then you've got the real small little farm communities, and Kentucky's like that. They do have some backwoods stuff.
I know of some baseball players I played with. They came from high schools that were, their high school was kindergarten to 12th grade. Yeah. That was the entire school. That's how little people lived in that town.
Yeah, no, my school that I went to was you would have kindergarten that went to Central Elementary, and then you just went down the hall, and then you were in middle school, and then you're high school right there.
Oh, if you were a Dickey senior, how easy it would be to clean up with lunches from kindergartners.
Yeah, at my school at least.
A Dickey senior.
Yeah, it was like a city block, and the elementary started at one end, and then you had the high school down at the other. So you didn't really mix too much. So the elementary, they kind of kept off to the far side, and then the cafeteria was shared by everybody. But yeah, that was weird. You'd be a senior, and you'd look over, and you'd see kindergartners.
It was weird, too. My freshman year in college up there at Chipola Junior College out there in Marianna, Florida, it was such a different environment than here in South Florida.
Oh, it is.
And it was a small town, but it was a cluster of small towns. But even if you were 4 towns away, you still knew who that son of a bitch was because it wasn't that far from you.
Yeah, we kind of did, mainly through sports. You would know who was on the other sports teams because you play a lot of the same people. So you kind of knew that. And then, I'm sure what happened there is you would have a group of guys who would roll from one town to the next, and you would have cross-town fights.
Oh, yeah, because you're trying to smash.
Yeah.
With different high school
you
now.
You roll into town.
Because you're running out of options.
Yeah, you go and beat some ass, and, that's... Yeah, growing up in it's radically different than anything in the city, and you really can't explain it to people unless you've lived there. But it's a different code. In many ways, it's cozy. The people are very nice. In fact, somebody was from Ohio. In fact, the guy that I was talking to, where my basketball coach went to his high school and then also filmed guys in the locker room, his wife is like, I'm from here. And I went up there. She's like, I could not believe how nice everybody was. And everybody is. But there was a Jason Aldean song called Try That in a Small Town, and people kind of vilified that song and said, that's kind of messed up. But it's like try carjacking a lady at a red light, all that kind of stuff. It's like you're not going to get very far down the street. It's like try that in a small town because they will have small town justice and they will whoop your ass. And the cops will look the other way and they'll be like, yeah, it's just how we do it here. If you act a fool and do that shit, you will get your ass beat to hell. And they kind of police and regulate. There's a lot of vigilante justice in a small town.
Yeah, I remember a few times where, because every Friday I'd get the mail, and that's when my dad would send me a little bit of money, and that was kind of my meal money. Mm-hmm. And there was a few times where it just didn't get there on that Friday. And it was so devastating because you wanted to eat.
Yeah.
And if people found out you didn't have money in that town, they would make you food.
Yeah.
And they really did take care of you.
Big time.
And you could feel like they wanted to.
Big time. I mean, those are the trade-offs. Look, when my mom passed, my dad didn't make a meal for 3 or 4 months. There were people just always bringing him food, and that's what it's like. So the trade-off is you have that kind of community where everybody looks after everybody. Crime is typically low because, one, it's easy to catch you if you do anything. And then 2, they really will regulate that town. Like, they will whoop your ass, to stay in line because they just don't like people coming in and running amok. They want it quiet. They want it peaceful. And, you'll keep it that way. Now, you miss, like I said, we didn't have anything of any kind of frills. You don't have the big chains. You don't have the restaurants, you don't have shit to do.
I noticed that high school football was huge.
Yeah.
Any kind of sport, even our junior college baseball team, people showed up as if that was a very major event.
Center point of it, yeah.
It was just junior college baseball.
Yeah, so a lot of the high school activities, if you had a theater play, that was, oh my gosh, you're going to the play that the school was putting on. If you had a band concert, yeah, because you're very limited in what you do.
I did think it was cool, though. They televised one of our games on the local radio.
Yeah, every game that my high school played was on the local radio.
And I always said that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of the trade-off. And some people they absolutely love that. Like I said, my dad loves Logan, my hometown, so much. He would never leave. It's just he was made for a town like that. And I think a lot of people, you're made for a small town or you're made for a city. I just always loved skyscrapers and I loved excitement and I loved all that kind of stuff. And I knew at a very young age that, I need to be in a city. This country living's not for me. I get it and I understand why people love it. I respect it.
I would like living in a small town where the big city's about an hour away.
Yeah.
An hour and a half away.
My town wasn't bad. We were 45 minutes from Columbus, Ohio. And so you would just kind of head right to the interstate, and then you'd kind of go into the hills. You could tell where Logan was beginning because the hills start to rise up, and you hear the banjos playing, and the fog kind of rolls in, and here we go, baby.
Who do you think was more aggressive when it came to, were small town girls more aggressive when it came to, oh man, let me see that dick? Or were city girls when you came down here to Florida, were they more aggressive? Did you see a difference?
I think you have a little bit of everything, but in a town where the girl was aggressive, she would get a label.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Of getting around but I think every grade had that girl. I know we had that girl that, she had basically kind of at least given a hand job to every guy in the class. So.
You don't even know if that's true either, by the way. Sometimes people make...
It was true. Got one.
We'll get you some.
Yeah, So you had a little bit of that, Everybody kind of knew. Yeah. So it's unique, and there's a lot of characters, and all of them. So, that's kind of what's fun about it. But, it was great seeing everybody at the movie premiere. The movie's going to be dropping. If you're listening to this live, you got noon on Wednesday. If it's past that time, you can go right now to the KVJShow YouTube channel and watch it.
Yeah, what would really help? If you guys just put comments up. If you could do that, that'd be amazing. It does help everything.
Yep.
And I'd like to try to beat our last movie anniversary, which I think is at 15,000.
Yep.
It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a village for this one. It's a long movie. It's an hour 47. So patience is it's not for the TikTok. It's not for the TikTok brain, Kevin.
Right. Well, we can put maybe some little trailers up too to let some people see what that looks like. And
I know we're going to be putting it on Discord. Does that affect YouTube views? Do you know if you're running it through Discord?
I don't know. I'll look into that. I'm just, we really used KVJ's Discord for the first time to kind of bring everybody together at the KVJ movie premiere. It was kind of cool because some people were on it, they're getting notifications, and so they were seeing a lot of the costumes live, and, it was a great way for people in that moment to stay connected while a KVJ event was going on, and we weren't running YouTube or anything like that. So... yeah, it was good to see everybody. Chicago Lulu, she said, I met Kev for a second, then he ran off. I'm sorry I didn't get to spend more time with you. I really did want to talk to you more. I did talk to she's the one that gave the recommendation for my oldest son, Colin, who's in Chicago, where she's from, and hooked him up with a place. If you're ever in Chicago, by the way, I talked to my son on Sunday. Poor Decisions is the name of the bar. He said it's the best chicken wings he's ever had.
Okay.
Anywhere. So I was like, that's quite a compliment.
I felt bad, too, at the movie premiere. I wanted to talk to people more. It just kind of got a little crazy right before the premiere and even after.
Yeah.
We weren't supposed to do a photo shoot thing, and I think I did an impromptu one.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know if that was, I was just trying to.
It was fun. It was challenging. We could have used more time, though, but that's kind of the way it goes. But one of the costumes I referenced earlier was the corn dog knife, which pops up in the movie. And I got this as my husband and I had a great time. We dressed as the corn dog knife, but didn't get many pictures. But there's one right there to see what they did.
That's awesome. That's a great outfit.
Absolutely. Got Michelle. She sent this in, had her crew that was out there and looked fantastic. All those ladies, great costumes. Thank you for watching that. It's on YouTube right now. And if you cannot watch this, we got a lot of the photos posted up on our Instagram as well. And then we had this from Gina. Sent this in. You got the clown and his problems solved. Okay.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of good costumes out there. So appreciate everybody that came out. So check that out on YouTube today. Abby said, you're talking about your DJ Pooh playlist yesterday. What song would you put on if you were a club DJ and you had to go run and take a dump? Would you put on a song that tips your cap to you taking a dump, or do you just put on a super long song and hope that it doesn't run out? That was what one of our buddies had done. He put on the short version of a song and came out to a quiet club, which he said that's a DJ's worst nightmare, and people standing on the dance floor upset. She said, when you were talking about that, Kev then went into the code word right after that was corn, which great fitting code word to come off of that discussion. She said, back when I was 20-ish, in the 90s, Kevin and V's age then, I was hanging out with this crew in a small town in Iowa, and all the guys in the group were referring to this very attractive woman as Corn. And I'm like, why do you call her Corn? And I'm going, well, because she's so hot, any of us would eat the corn out of her shit.
Oh, God.
Gosh, Iowa. Come on, Iowa. I got a lot of corn in Iowa.
I knew it was gonna
come on.
I knew it was going to be gross. I didn't know it was going to be that repulsive.
Oh, my gosh. That's them Iowa boys for you.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta watch out. And somebody said, yeah, you were talking about the FAU pisser that is going on. They're making videos with some of the landmarks on campus, like the owl statue, and looks like they're peeing on it. Somebody said, I think there's a pisser at Florida State, too.
Wow. Now, it sounds like there's been some copycats on this thing.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's caught on. Like I said, I even saw one at Boca High. They had somebody that was making a video, and they were in class. And the thing is, you can't tell if they just have a water bottle and they're squirting it. So you're looking at the stream. You're like going, okay, because you don't see their junk and it coming out. You just see the stream and it landing wherever it's landing. So you're like, okay, is that legit? A lot of the ones I've seen, I don't think are, because if it is, the person's really well hydrated. There's no yellow tint to it whatsoever.
The thing I thought was my favorite part of the story was how it sounds like there's either like a journalist or a FAU detective student that's trying to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, he was. He's got over 1 million views just trying to track down the FAU pisser.
I think that's amazing. And I told him, he's got a media streamline here. I will report on this story if we get updates.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take a look at it. Mandy said, what, they don't have cameras on campus? Yeah, that's a good question. That's what makes me think that it's probably just a prank and there's nothing there. But it's getting a lot of clicks and shares and everything else on social media.
It's getting to the point where the media can't hide from this now. It's out there.
Yeah, it's the big old pissy prank, and it seems like it's everywhere.
But I do like the fact that somebody's going after them.
Yeah.
Like an old detective movie or something.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty amazing. Let me see. Got some other emails here. That's a complaint there. Got a different thing.
Uh-oh. Go fuck yourself, Jaybird.
No. It's for a different thing. Yeah, I'd come back in. I went to go pee myself earlier, and Denny's had dropped a few new emails, so I didn't get a chance to completely organize those. One other thing, Coach Jeff, who does strength training in Frisco, just outside of Dallas, said you were talking about doing the apps for the mental games. Just to let you know, is lifting weights just twice a week not only boosts memory and executive function, but it's one of the few things proven to stimulate neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to create new brain cells and connections. So mental games are great for sharpening specific skills, but those gains don't always transfer to real-life thinking. The real magic happens when you combine both, move your body and challenge your mind. Physical strength truly builds mental strength.
Yeah, but I really do think there's something to be said with, and again, overusing anything is never a great thing. But if you are struggling with intrusive thoughts or OCD, every now and then a video game can take your mind out of that world and you kind of get a reset. Now, I don't think you should play video games for 9 hours a day. But take an hour, hour and a half to kind of get your mind off of some bullshit, and you might have a different perspective.
Yeah, no, I think so, absolutely.
Well, I just know it's helped me before. So, I mean, I'm not that, uncommon to where if it worked on me, I'm sure it would work on somebody else.
Yeah. And strength training, it is great. Absolutely. As you get older, you want to have that for mobility and just core strength and all that stuff. So, yeah, you got to combine it all. I think, for a lot of people, I know for me, the biggest struggle is just time.
Yes, it is.
It's just like, my gosh, man, yeah, I would love to, if I had all day to work out or do what Paris Hilton does and have 9 hours a week of facials, that'd be amazing. I'd love to do all that.
I think the problem, too, is sometimes there's almost a guilt enjoyment factor to where you're going, oh man, I'm doing this and I should be doing this for the show.
Yeah.
And sometimes that takes over your thoughts maybe.
Right.
Because there's so much to do And then you go, shit, I can't spend too much time dicking around in La La Land because there's just too much to do.
Yeah. No, that's just it. Talking about our brains, apparently they can only really keep up with about 150 solid relationships, not just acquaintances. They said as far as your brain goes with processing people you know and how closely, it's hard to have a capacity of less than 5 super close people, your inner circle. They say that's what the brain processes best. It's best with fewer than 15 good friends and less than 50 casual friends.
I mean, I know I keep using this as an example, but it's the best way I can articulate it. It's the Cheesecake Factory menu factor. There's only so many options and so many things the brain really can't compute until you get brain fatigue, and then you're not making really great choices. You're just going, there's that option, there's that option. And I think that's the same thing with having too many people in your life. There's only so much time and only so much one can give.
And you can't, and that's it. And I do have guilt because sometimes there are friends, and I think that's a good number, 5 super close people, 15 good friends, and you can maybe spread that time around a little bit and say, hey, I may not see you for another 2 months, but in 2 months I'll get back to you and we'll hang out again. And then less than 50 casual friends.
And most of the time it's not even personal. It's just because life happens.
It's the capacity that you have.
Exactly.
I mean, especially if you've got a family and you've got a demanding job, there's not a lot of time left to do much else. So to have more friends than that, you can't really give them the time that they need to have a good friendship.
And then when you hang out with them, you're all tired and pissy. They don't want that.
No.
That's not a fun time.
No. They say beyond that, people not deeply, might stretch into the hundreds, but those aren't relationships with real emotional depth.
Yeah, I think you can have some I love you man moments and have some good times, but you got to kind of keep it moving when it comes to friends and loved ones, of matters of the heart.
Yeah, there are people that I might see out I haven't seen in several years, and it's like, hey, we'll go have a couple beers together and kind of hang out for that day and be like, all right, see you in probably 5 years, and that's kind of the way it goes, and that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's people in my past that are unbelievable people who I would still go through a wall for, but I just don't see them that much anymore.
Right.
And it's nothing because anything bad happened, just life kind of took you in different directions.
Mm-hmm. So not only can your schedule not accommodate, but apparently your brain can't either. It kind of puts a cap on it, even if you had the time, on how many close and good friends you would have. Now, 38% of Americans say they would redo their college experience if possible.
Yes, I would.
Why would you redo it?
I would redo it in a couple different ways. The first time I went to college, I thought I was going to be playing third base for the Atlanta Braves. So I really cared about baseball and not academics, and that kind of set me back a little bit because I had to repeat a couple courses. And I think I would have approached baseball in a different way and tried to have more fun. And instead of putting so much pressure on myself, I did enjoy it because it wasn't enjoyable. It was too much pressure to even enjoy. And I think I would have taken my schooling seriously and had more fun trying to play baseball. And I think I would have had a better experience.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's the number, and that's a relatively high number, 38% on that. They say the desire stems from wanting to explore different career paths and to earn more money. Now, that might be part of it. I'm sure there are a lot of people that look back and they regret what they did. And they said, I can't find a job in that field, or that field's going to be irrelevant now, and I've got all this debt, or I realized I don't like that career field after I went through 4 years of school and paid $200,000. They say nearly a quarter are interested in pursuing new degrees today. And here's the thing, 34% say they weren't interested in college then, but they are now. And I get that. I guess I did like learning a bit, but not the way I am now. Like if I went to college and that's your whole job all day, is just try to learn and cram information, I'd be like, that's awesome. But I wasn't there when I was 20, 21 years old.
Well, yeah, because I was 21. I was trying to crush baseball and then crush pussy.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 25% of people admit they weren't interested in college at the age that you're supposed to go.
You're distracted. You're trying to figure yourself out in your early 20s, man. That's a tough time to be a human because you don't know necessarily your place in the world yet.
Yeah.
And you're trying to find your footing, and you're not a kid, but I wouldn't say you've got the knowledge to be a seasoned adult.
Right.
I mean, you may think you are, but you're still learning so much shit. Mm-hmm. I think that's a tough place to be for up until your mid-20s.
It is. And I think a lot of people, I know for me, it was just you went to college. That's just what you did. If you had that capacity and could go, then you just went off to college, and that's where your parents would send you. You know, it was just something you didn't think about. And you're like, okay, this is the next step of life. They say financial concerns right now are blocking 30% of people from returning to school, followed by different priorities and time constraints, which, yeah, I mean, who's really got the capacity to go back to school and the money? They say more than half of people who would want to go back prefer hybrid or fully online classes over in-person stuff. And I asked, would you redo your college experience if possible? 57% of the people watching on KVJ TV said they would. I think I got lucky. I wound up at a fun school. I went through 6 different majors. I started pre-law. I was in classical history. I was in some crazy shit. I couldn't even imagine if I would have done that now. Then I definitely would have regretted it. I wound up in telecommunications, which is what I do today, at a party school. Had a great time, took full advantage of it. Finally had to leave the school because all I was doing, I live with sorority girls. And so I forgot to go to class for about 6 weeks. And that was not good for my grades. And my parents were like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I'm having a great time.
Oh, my gosh.
I was just, every night was a sorority party, and we had a big bonfire out back of the house.
I picture you jumping from the stairs into like a kiddie pool full of beer.
I did.
You were such a 80s/90s party movie.
I was that guy. I was always doing something stupid. I remember walking through the bonfire one time right in the middle of people. What are you doing? Just dumb shit.
Well, even in junior college, we would do the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
You know, not even at a party school. You just get a bunch of college people together having a college party. Shit's going to get a little crazy.
Right. And look, I look at a lot of that being fun, but I'm like, why did my parents send me off to college? Like, that was until Ohio University. It was known to be one of the top party schools in America. I'm like, knowing what I was in high school, why would you send that kid to Ohio University?
My parents didn't know I was drinking because I never drank in high school. I was a goody-goody two-shoes. And by the end of my freshman year in college, I started to drink. So going into my sophomore year, I started, really, really starting to party. And for some reason, I thought it'd be funny because I still lived at, you lived at home during, vacation time.
Oh, right.
And I took out all the frozen food from the freezer and I laid down on the dining room table and then put all the frozen food on my body and passed out. And my dad woke me up and goes, Bird, what's going on here? And I think he knew I was drunk. So he helped me put the food away and sent me to bed. And I thought that was the funniest prank. It was the dumbest shit.
I got them.
Thank God my mom did not see that shit because she was so against drinking.
How do you think she would have responded if she had found you?
She found out that I was, you could not hide that. She was a bloodhound. She found out real quick.
And what did she say? Did you get a punishment at that point?
Well, I was 19, so it wasn't a punishment really. It was more of just a lot of Italian guilt.
Okay.
A lot of guilt.
She gave you a good old formal guilt trip.
Yeah, my mom not a big fan of the drinking.
Mm-hmm. And look at you now.
I love you, Mom. Miss you every day.
Did you see that video that came out of Wichita, Kansas, of the woman that was abducted on that video? And as I had it yesterday, I didn't run with it because I'm like, I didn't know what was going on. This was early Sunday morning. She's screaming and a guy carries her off. I guess they wound up finding her. Thank God she's safe. But, man, what a crazy story that was.
Well, that's what I'm noticing is how brazen these kidnappers are getting, where they are kidnapping people right in front of other people, whether it's daytime, nighttime, and there's witnesses. And I don't know if it's always been that way, and we're just seeing it more because there's cameras around.
Yeah.
But there are some people really taking major chances of kidnapping, where you go, holy shit, there's 11 people around watching.
But what are they thinking? Nobody's getting away with it. I mean, how many stories do you have where somebody commits a crime and we just walk away and be like, I don't know, don't have any idea. Almost every single story that you see in the media, they seem to wind up catching the person that is responsible for that. And I think back in our era, before all the cameras in the 80s, I would imagine, I'd love to see the crime stats, but I imagine there were a lot more getaways then than there are now because of the cameras and social media and the way you can connect and get the word out on something.
So I think the problem is it's kind of twofold. I think it's you can get the criminal quicker, but the problem is the first 2 hours of someone being kidnapped is the most dangerous because they're going to either try to do what they want to do and or dump the body, or they're making a decision on getting and fleeing. So I think eventually you do get that criminal quicker than you did in the past.
Yep.
But you're still not going to be able to save the victim.
Well, because now when you realize that happens, you go get the camera, you put it what it captured on video, and you put that right up on social media, and then that takes off wildfire.
Yeah.
And, within 10 hours, that thing is all over the place, and the usual cushion time that somebody had to create distance between where they committed their crime and where they are now, that is cut way down.
I mean, it's bad after 24 hours. 48 is when you start kind of giving up a little bit of hope, and after 72, you start to assume the worst. I'm not saying that person is it's a death sentence, but it goes up very, very high when it comes to if they're alive or not.
But that's why we're in a much better era than we used to be. If you're committing crimes, I think that you're going to be brought to justice at a higher rate now because of things like that. And luckily, she's a 35-year-old woman. It was a domestic issue with her boyfriend, and I guess she's okay, and hopefully she gets rid of that tool.
It's the boogeyman that scares me the most because that's the one that's your BTK. That's your Ted Bundy. They're doing research on you. They're lurking in the darkness. Mm-hmm. They sometimes know your schedule. Right. That's the boogeyman.
Yeah, the one that is just kind of laying in the weeds. You never know they're going to pop out.
That to me, that's the scariest. I mean, all murder is scary. Mm-hmm. But when a complete stranger sets their sights on you.
Yep. The person with that dark energy, Bird.
Yes, exactly.
There you go. All right, movie out in 1 hour and 20 minutes. Going to be dropping on the KVJ Show YouTube channel. Check it out. Click like, share, do all that kind of good stuff. And let us know what you think of it. We'll get to some of those comments on tomorrow's ATS. Y'all enjoy your Wednesday. Virginia back with us as well. We'll see you then. Goodbye.